Привет из Дубая. С вами передача «Голубь мира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about compliance and let's start with the definition.
Compliance, this is procedure which usually occur in the bank or insurance companies or some trust or funds which make money transferring. Before you are going to make deal or close deal, you should provide some documents to ensure that you are the same person, what are you intend to be, and bank should understand source of your money. If money is dirty, you will be involved in so-called money laundering, and the bank will not give your money back and will not pass the money to your contractor. But if you clean and your money clean, everything will go smooth.
And as far as I know, compliance might be a very complex process and the structure itself, and it might be also like having different moving parts. Like, for example, as I mentioned, it could be AML, which is stands for anti-money laundering, or knowing your customers, knowing your business. So let's try to map out all of these moving parts in order to see the big picture.
When you're talking about physical person, we start with know your client. You should provide your documents. You should show all the chain of people who own the money, because maybe you are a representative or maybe you are employer of the company. So you should provide all the documents, all the chain through the beneficiary. While you are working for some organization, you should provide some more documents. For example, if you deal with currency, if you give money abroad, you will be processed under the law, which doesn't allow, for example, give money more than for 90 days if you will not get something in return, like, I don't know, some materials, some moving parts of something. You will be conducted as a person who are trying to avoid tax or make tax reduction. So usually when you work with company, you are going to check your contract, all your papers together with bank's employee, and they will give some advices how to avoid dangerous consequences.
So when you mentioned that there should be a person checking this, probably it should be like a compliance officer or someone who does this function. So when it comes to the, I would say the skills and the knowledge and maybe the education of this officer, what kind of skills or like any attributes they should possess and what should be aware of?
That's not so hard as everyone thinks. Yes, for sure, you should provide some education and you should be certified, but it will take you like from 3 to 6 months. For example, I was making this in Paris, in France, and this is not a hard education, not a rocket science. Second, you should be given some access to databases like International Police, Interpol, and Anti-Money Laundering Committee, and so also FATF organization and some else. And if you are getting a client, if you're getting a contract, if you're getting papers, you just check everything. You should check accounts, people, you should check all companies, and there are a lot of different moving parts, as you told before, which they have some like coefficient of trustship. For example, if I was already doing the same job in different companies for 10 years and no penalty was given to me, so I would be clear and I will get a very high mark. For example, if the company is new, if it is just a first transaction, if we couldn't tell exactly to the bank or to other company when we will get back materials or what we bought. In this case, there would be suspicious, and they will say, for example, don't give all 100% money upfront, but give like 10%, not more.
And when it comes to like any territory specifics, what the compliance officer should be aware about. For example, let's say in Emirates, if you want to lend money, you also need to be like a Sharia approved, meaning that like there is a specific committee of the people who will look into your model and will see, for example, that you not give the money, adding some like a percentage so that you can get certain certification. or maybe like certain laws of the territory might be changing over decades or even let's say over the quarter. So how should compliance officer think about like checking the surface and monitoring all of the changes that could possibly or like even has like a small probability of affecting business?
This is very strict rules and the same procedure. It's depend from size of the company, how many stakeholders or shareholders in the company, how many foreign banks involved. For example, if you're working with Germany and there are several banks like Hermes Bank, if you will work through this bank, everyone knows, okay, they have a very strong compliance department. Or for example, if you are paying to America and you will pay to Citibank, everyone will understand. They make it clear and sound. You know why? Because Citibank, when I was learning to be a compliance officer, was fined up to $4 billion US for anti-money laundering, and they were paying this penalty, and also they were obliged to conduct education for compliance officer around the world for 1 year. And they never will do the same again. But for example, right now, Raiffeisen Bank, this Austrian bank, was fallen to this anti-money issue, and they have some problems. And every year, like 3 to 4 banks in different countries, they are would be excluded from the financial system. There are also some territories which are not allowed to pay. For example, you couldn't pay to Cuba or to Iran or to Russia right now.
And when it comes to, let's say, we're not really the compliance officer, but we might be the owner of the business, we might be the troubleshooter or just a consultant who came in order to address something, will it be necessary for us, especially if the company is operating with the finance, to possess this knowledge in order at least to understand the language of the people or problems or the background that we will be dealing with?
I know this language, but it doesn't help. Even today, I have a call, and it was in incoming, and this guy who was trading with cars in Moscow, and he paid to some companies in Europe through Dubai and some other Armenia and Belarus and some other countries, and suddenly his money got stuck, so he wouldn't get them back. And when I was talking to my colleagues, former colleagues in bank, they saying now we have so many rules and they change so fast. Each sanction, each restriction will give you several additional rules, and people do not need to know them. If you will enter or log in the system will tell you what to do. There is not a special window with searches. There is just a special form. You should put some data which was asked, and this form are dynamical. So if there is a small sum, you will get less amount of windows to fill. If you have some big amount of money and maybe this company is already under suspicion, you will enter a lot of. And if, for example, this just usual business as usual, you will get just electronic forms. But if, for example, this would be for like a rare occasion, you will be asked to submit or download some scan.
And I know that there is a skill called like the hacker's mindset. So will it be possible, knowing compliance and maybe combining it with the different skills, to actually bypass like in the ethical and the legal way of some of the limitations, meaning that you still can, like run the operation, it will be legally correct, but you still will do it with finesse, meaning that you're not going to spend a lot of the resources and still will achieve your goal?
Yes, it is possible, and the easiest way is to change source of the money. For example, if you got several passports and you have several colleagues with the same scheme, if you have at least 8 different passports, you could go through any borders with your money. Yes, it would cost you from 12 to 15% of total sum, but anyway, it is better than not to pay.
And when it comes to new technologies that being applied to the compliance, so probably, like now there are like anti-money laundering systems, or maybe anything that would monitor the transactions or any processes happening in a company, how the compliance in the foreseeable future will be changed or even automated for the big SME companies?
A lot of people think that with cryptocurrency you could avoid all the restriction, but it is not true. If you will compare amount of money which was transferred in yuan or in dollar, you will find that this amount of money may be 100 times more than total issued amount of bitcoins. So bitcoins, they very hard to buy when you are company. It is hard to transfer in big sum. You know, everyone will know that someone was paying, and it is not hard to understand who was doing this. And also, if, for example, you give the money, you have no such an option as guarantee or like a hedging or funding, because if you're working with traditional banks, they do this like for 400 years. But Bitcoin, it's a very easy system, and you couldn't rely on contracts or electronic contracts.
And my last question will be how knowing about compliance could help to make this world a better place.
I know a lot of people who were trying to buy something abroad, like yacht or maybe island or some plant, and they spent like 10 or 50 mil, and suddenly they found that this money are lost forever, and they were taken out from the currency system by Justice Department of USA, and you couldn't go to the court and so on. You have broken so many rules that you have no chance, and all of your lawyers will tell you, come on, you was dealing without us, you was not asking, you was not testing the theme, so suddenly you became a fraudster. It is not about loss of your money. It is also about your reputation. You also lost some points and maybe quite a big amount.
Знайте законы и сохраняйте свои миллионы. А мы рассмотрели навык compliance и чем он полезен именно вам. Всем мира!